Hello coffee people, I'm Kat Melheim, and today I'm going to be brewing with the AeroPress. I'll be using Umeko Motoyoshi's double extraction technique for old coffee because I've got a good amount of old coffee lying around. Umeko's technique uses a tight brew ratio and colder water to pull out more acidity from coffee that is a bit old. We're gonna get to it. Baratza grinder, Bonavita kettle, AeroPress, scoop to measure coffee, thing to measure water, and that's it. So the first thing that I wanted to do is figure out what different volumes are. So 100 milliliters. This is precarious. Oh, no, it's not going to be straight. Everything's upside down because it's inverted. But the plunger is at the bottom of the number 4 and the water is at the top of the circle of the number 2. It's going to be a little bit different because I'm going to have coffee in there, which will take up some volume, but that's a good gauge of what 100 milliliters should be. As far as coffee volume goes, things that I found online said that this scoop is between 14 and 18 grams. Umeko calls for 15 grams. I'm gonna do a bit of a rounded scoop. Again, I like my coffee strong, so we'll give that a try. This method is specifically for older coffee. I found this coffee in my cupboard yesterday that is probably from October, and I did not seal it properly, and I set it aside and then I forgot about it. So we're gonna see if it works. Still smells really good. Start with a wetted filter. Umeko doesn't say to do that necessarily, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Heat up our water to 204 degrees. Medium grind. The coffee grinds brought the volume from the bottom of the 4 to the bottom of the 3. I'm gonna pour to just under the top of the 1. 204 degrees. Whoops, I poured way too much. I forgot that I was doing volume. Swirl a couple of times, and now we wait for 1 minute.
Note, this is not actually how Umeko did their brew. They flipped it immediately and then swirled. I got it wrong. So, yeah.
1 minute. Stop at the hissing noise. That smells like straight up lemon juice. Like, that's so acidic. Wow. So we uncap this, filter back on here, retract the plunger. It's a little messy. Umeko does 50 grams of 204 degree water and 50 grams of room temperature water, which I've set aside before. Oh wait, this is 100. About there. And then 50 grams of this. Cap it, flip it, swirl.
So at this point, I realized that a lot of my coffee grinds were at the top of the plunger, so I tried to flip it and fix it, but I just ended up spilling coffee everywhere.
I didn't read the directions very well ahead of time. Wow, that's a whole lot lighter. A lot less acidic. But I think I've done a terrible job. I got coffee everywhere. I made a big mess. It was my first time trying. What do you want from me? Let's give these coffees a try. So we've got the first one, lemon juice. Yeah, that's a bright extraction. Then we have the second brew. It tastes like a diluted sugar water. My volumes are very off. The volumetric difference is pronounced because I accidentally poured way too much in the first one and then I spilled some of the second one. So this isn't a great representation, but we're gonna give it a go. Let's combine the coffees, huh? The moment of truth. It's a lot more dynamic than either of them by themselves. Would I say this is a great cup of coffee? I would say that I've done a terrible job brewing this coffee. So I messed this up. I forgot to pay attention to how much water I was putting into the AeroPress on the first pour, and I ended up putting in too much water. And then on the second pour, I think I flipped the AeroPress too early, and so then the puck was at the bottom and it wasn't in contact with the water. So let's try that again. The next coffee I'm gonna try and brew is this Finca Fatima from Veracruz, Mexico. It was roasted by Quentin, which is a coffee shop in Mexico City. I was just there, but this coffee is from January. So, old, check. A. It smells like cookies. First thing, I have to empty out my AeroPress from before. All right, I watched Umeko's videos another couple times, so I think I'm more prepared this time around to actually brew it correctly. I don't know. Let's give it a try. All right, again, first thing, coffee. Filter, rinse. This time I'll do a better job of gauging the volumes. Better. Cap it, flip it. A lot of my coffee is already brewed. Ooh, that smells like pink lemonade. All right, second brew, take off the top. This one came off a lot easier. Filter aside, bring this back down, back up to 204. Let's taste this in the meantime. Whoa, that's bright. I'm having trouble getting all of the grinds in the brew. You can see there's still some coffee up there. I don't know how to knock that down. I did a better job that time. Still not perfect. I'm trying to figure out how to get all of the coffee grinds into the brew rather than sticking around the outside or at the top of the plunger. But first brew, super acidic, not much to balance it out. Second brew, sweeter. Put them together. It's fine. It's more dynamic than I would have thought for a coffee from January. I'm gonna drink it. I love brewing with the AeroPress, and I think with this method, I just need to get better at making sure that all of the coffee grinds, when it flips, are in the brew rather than stuck on the top of the plunger. Since I don't have a scale, this is a recurring theme. I was focusing more on the volume rather, again, than the agitation of the coffee. So I think if I were to agitate the coffee more while I was pouring, it would become more of the slurry and it would be easier to flip it without stuff sticking around the outside. Each sip develops like, Oh yeah, and here are my notes for this brew method. Doop-a-doop-a-doo, wow, wow. So that was my attempt at brewing 2 old coffees with an AeroPress using Umeko Motoyoshi's double extraction technique for old coffee. The more it cools, the more this one tastes like fruit juice. Yeah. Thanks, Umeko. I'm gonna keep playing with that. The Chemex technique that I used yesterday was basically the same thing, right? I did 2 extractions. Is it the same principle? I just suck at brewing.